Hello, everyone. It's yours truly, the Minutes, aka Arch Grams Kent, here to do another episode of the Teachable Moments podcast. And I have my guest today, Eliza Haze. Say hello to everyone.
Hello.
Okay, cool. So, what I wanted to ask you is I've watched you on Facebook and all sorts of stuff like that. How did you come to love the business or get into being a fan of wrestling? What sparked your love of professional wrestling?
Um, well, I haven't been a diehard fan since a little kid, like a lot of folks. I kind of went in and out for a while. So when I was little, my grandmother had this big crush on the Undertaker. So she would watch all the time just to see that.
Right?
And then I fell out of it for a little while, and then I actually got back into it when I was in college. My partner and I had our first apartment, and two broke college kids sitting on the couch, nothing else to do. So he's always been in love with wrestling. So we'd sit there and we'd watch it. We'd like try to guess the storylines and everything, and just mark out basically.
Right?
So we started to have a lot of fun with
Cool. So,
that.
on top of that, when did you realize you wanted to be a pro wrestler?
Well, again, my partner opened the door again. He started training, and he was like, "Come on, you gotta get in the ring. You gotta do this. You're gonna love it." And I had neck surgery back in 2013. So I was like, "No, I can't do it. I am not athletic at all." And it's like, "Come on, you can do it. You can do it." So eventually, I got in, and as soon as I stepped in those ropes, I never stepped back out.
Okay. So, neck surgery in 2013. What caused you to have neck surgery?
Well, my doctor's pretty sure that I played professional football in this league. I don't think that's quite right, but doctor knows best, right? I had a C5 C6 herniated disc. So
Yeah.
they went in, did plate and cadaver bone. His name is Fred. He's going to be 10 years old this year. But yeah.
Uh, that's great. But no, yeah, herniated discs. Ouch. I can safely say I have not encountered that. Thank God. Not at all. But how did you come up, if you don't mind me asking, how did you come up with the persona of the flower, yeah, flower girl, flower
Well,
child, Eliza Haze?
flower child. Flower girls in a wedding.
Okay.
So it came about just during training. Like I wasn't sure exactly what way I wanted to go, but we always listen to music during training, and sometimes we have what some squares would refer to as the drug genre on, like some Grateful Dead, stuff like that. And I would just be sitting there and we'd be in a line getting ready to do reps, and I'm just kind of like grooving off to the side. And I'm normally a pretty peaceful person, so that whole I just decided to take that part and just kind of try to magnify it a little bit. That's the best way to come up with your character, is, from what I was taught, is to find some part of yourself and just magnify that.
Right. Because it's like they say in wrestling, right? Our personas are like over exaggeration of ourselves. It's kind of like we all know the Macho Man, how he came up and he was like really energetic and like you thought this guy belonged in the insane asylum half the time. That he was crazy. Yeah, that was just like an over exaggeration of himself. So yeah, our most of the time are just like an over exaggeration of ourselves. So that must mean I must be a horrible human being. because
Well,
I've I've done some underhand dirty, like I've one time I paid someone to run my friend down in wrestling, friend down with a car. So yeah, I must be a horrible human being.
well, it's all about that little part. There's that little part of bad in you. You just decide to take that part and just let it go.
Oh yeah.
I kind of went the opposite.
Oh yeah, definitely. So you in the gym right now, right? I hear
Yes.
that you're in the gym. So now that you're in the gym, I get to ask this question. What is your okay? I'm gonna ask you two parts of this. First, what's your favorite part of working out? And then what's your least favorite part of working out? Start with your favorite part. Like what do you like to work out more? Leg day, arms, chest, cardio, core.
My
What's your
favorite part of the workout is when I'm done. No, I don't know. I used to work legs a lot, and then I started having some knee problems because it turned out that I was actually working the muscles unevenly, and it caused a lot of stress on my knees. And being a thick girl too, I mean, probably has something with that. But like, it's I've had to really back down the last year or so on what I do with my legs and plan it a little more strategically so that I'm working out all the muscles equally. Um, but usually legs are my favorite day.
I hate legs. Me, I hate legs because I've worked out with a guy named Bradshaw. I trained with him. He's like big hulking dude, and he's big and like he's been working out hitting weights since he was 14. So like his legs are massive, his arms are massive. It's like if this guy was to grab you and bear hug you, you'd probably like either pass out or just be like, okay, I can't breathe. I don't know. So your least favorite part of working out?
Um, least favorite part to start. No, is cardio. I have such a hard time with cardio, and a lot of that has to do with the knee soreness. Um, so like running on the treadmill, doing the stairs, stuff like that, just aggravates it more. So
Right.
when I do cardio, I have to be careful about what I do cardio wise. Brava actually recommended a new route for me, and I haven't had a chance to get it yet, but I'm hoping once I get that, it'll give me enough stabilization that I can work more stuff in.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. So now we talked about how you got how you came to want to wrestle and all because you got to admit it. Once you get into it, I mean, like it's like I said with a previous person who was on. I think she was on episode 2. She goes on. She's like, "We're just sadistic people. We got to be, you know. We enjoy getting thrown onto the mat. We enjoy getting beat up. You got to be a part sadistic and part crazy to actually be in this business."
Oh yeah.
Where'd you get your training at?
I started at a little school in Daytona. They're not running right now, but they are starting to run some shows again called Go Wrestle.
Nice.
And then I switched. I was there for the first like 4 years, and then not this past. Oh gosh, not this past year, but the year before. I did the year at Levi School.
Nice, nice. Let's see. But okay, you've been doing it for how long again? How long you been wrestling for?
No, it's been 5 years now. Yeah.
5 years.
Probably
That's
based on
that
3 and
matches
then
about
4.
my time. You've been wrestling for 5 years. I've been wrestling for 5 years. That's great. That's great. Um, what has been your favorite matchup? Who has been your favorite opponent? So everybody will know who
Oh
is your
gosh,
favorite opponent to wrestle.
that's a tough one because there's a lot of folks that I've faced a couple of times. Um, but I have to say, because I am a little sick and a glutton for punishment, Savannah Thorne right
Now,
now
who
would
again?
probably be one of my top. Savannah Thorne. She was actually my debut match, and I have not won a match against her yet. It's been the 4 years since I made my actual in-ring debut. I have not won a match against her yet.
That's gotta eat you up, right? Just a little bit. It's got like fest inside. You're like, I haven't beat this person yet. Oh.
Yeah. So I want to keep facing her so that I get that win. I gotta get that win.
Yeah, I faced Bradshaw multiple times. Still have yet to beat that guy. And then it's like, but then again, if you saw this guy, you'd be like, it's completely understandable why he hasn't beat this guy. This guy's like the side of a house. But no, it's that thing that's like, eventually I'm gonna get him. Eventually I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get the title. I'm gonna do that. It's one of those things. But then again, I'm a bad guy, so I've got all of these devious methods going through my head of how am I gonna get that title? How am I gonna get that title? I actually have a preview show this Sunday, and I'm wrestling for the tag titles. So we're gonna see how that works out if the company that I'm wrestling for is gonna mess me over in the process. So yeah. Um. So yeah, I'm guessing you've wrestled all over, right? You probably wrestled more than I have in your 5 years of being there because me personally, I wrestled in like North Carolina. That's basically where I've wrestled. And I wrestled for like ACW. I've only wrestled for like one other company other than that. And that was just once, and that was at like Salisbury, North Carolina. Where all have you wrestled? Now we know what your favorite person to wrestle is, but where all have you wrestled, like for other companies, and what is your favorite company to wrestle for?
um, Favorite company right now would probably be EGTW, and not just because I have the women's title. They're a really
Right?
good company. It's a really close knit group. Production is really good, and the crowd is always amazing there.
That's awesome.
Different places. I've done Georgia, um, and Florida mostly. I've done some custom stuff in Tennessee, and I in Oklahoma, and I'm actually making my Alabama debut next weekend.
Nice, nice. You've gotten yourself around. That's nice.
Oh, and Arkansas. I did Arkansas.
Uh, yeah, you got yourself around a lot. I'm like, it's always good. My dog keeps dropping treats everywhere. Um, it's always good to get yourself out there, get yourself noticed and everything. But now I get to go on and ask some of these questions. So, like you said, you grew up watching wrestling because you said what your grandmother or whoever had a crush on the Undertaker. Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, who who was your favorite wrestler to watch growing up, and what was your favorite like paid event that you watched or favorite company? Basically.
Um, my favorite wrestler was always Rey Mysterio because I'm not exactly tall, and just watching Ray bounce from rope to rope, it was always just kind of inspiring. Somebody that's small can get in there and mix it up with the big sweaty men.
Yeah. I think you got to admit the mask, right? The mask helps put it all together, and they bounce
Oh
it
yeah.
adds mystique to the persona. And I gotta say, my least favorite, it's probably gonna be one of your least favorite moments. My least favorite moment had to be when they unmasked Rey Mysterio. I was like,
Yeah. Like I know it's a big thing, but a lot of companies are starting to do more of it, and it's losing the impact. I was watching AEW the other night, and both Fuego del Sol and Evil Uno were both, or no, was it Evil Uno? I think it was Evil Uno. They were trying to take the mask off, and it's like twice in the same show, guys. Like, talk to each other.
yeah, it's like it's one of those things I watch and I'm like, why do y'all have to go for the mask? Me being a masked wrestler, my mask is very important to me.
Yeah.
And I love it
Well,
because I got interviewed on a podcast one time, and the guy goes like, "So you're a luchador, right? Because you wear the mask." I'm like, "No, I'm not a luchador. You're not gonna see my butt fly off the top turnbuckle doing a hurricane rana and all. I like to keep my feet on the ground." And the guy goes and he's good, and he's like, "Then why do you wear the mask?" I'm like, "Because the mask gives me mystique, and plus it gives me privacy. I mean, I don't have to worry about people going like, oh my God, now I know where that guy lives." And all. So I love the mystique. And then he goes on, he's like, "So you shower in the mask?" I'm like, "No, I don't shower in the mask. What's wrong with you?" I was like, you got to take the
you need to
mask
sneak at
off.
home.
All right. But no, I'm glad you brought up AEW because now we get to talk about this. What do you think about the current state of AEW? We've all heard the backstage fights, the disagreements, and everything like that. What do you think about? What's your opinion on the current state of AEW?
I think that AEW's in kind of a tricky spot right now. AEW's kind of in that teenage phase where there's they've had a good thing going, but now they're not sure if they're going to switch it up. They're trying to find out like who they really are, and it can either go really well or really badly. There's a lot of really
Your audio, your audio is messed up. I can't. Okay.
sorry.
There we go. Okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
I've been getting spam calls all day,
Oh,
and I just haven't.
go ahead. Repeat that again so everybody can hear you. You said they're in a tricky spot. We were talking about it could go either really well or really bad for them. Then your audio kind of cut out. Go ahead and repeat.
Yeah, they have such a deep pool of talent there, and that's one of the things I always loved about AEW was the fact that their talent pool is so deep and so diverse, and the fact that they bring in some of the local folks on Elevation and Dark gives them that little bit of a place to shine. And I like the fact that they're still doing that, but I feel like trying to figure out how to word it. It feels like sometimes that they're focusing on the wrong storylines. Like they've got so many options and so much potential with all this stuff. There just isn't enough room to put it all. Like if they're a women's roster. On your main shows, you've got probably one women's match, but on Dark Elevation, you're getting a lot more. I think that a mistake would be keeping Dynamite and Rampage with just the women's match. I really think we should be incorporating more and still giving the women a highlight because they did that a lot more in the early days. And now it just seems like it's really getting to that generation.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I'm like, it's either I feel they're suffering at times from lack of storyline, or the storylines have been all played out. Look at where we were with WWE. Let's say about about 2 years ago. Okay, WWE gotten stale. It's the same thing. And then Triple H comes and becomes more creative, and things start becoming more fresh. They start becoming more kick to it, more zest to these storylines. Like heck, I thought the greatest storyline they've had in years has been the Bloodline storyline in WWE. Bloodline, Roman Reigns, uh, with the Usos and Sequoia and Sami Zayn. Then recently, Sami Zayn faced Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber, which is fantastic. I thought it was a great match, and I think the storyline is great. And I think that AEW needs. I'm a firm believer of there's nothing wrong with watching your I'm gonna put in quotes competition, because if you watch the competition, you take the stuff that works from them and pull it into yours and tweak it a little bit, and then you see it doesn't work and you cut that out, because it's like I think what was it? Steph said it in an interview recently. He said you need to watch everything that's happening. You need to do your homework, because you can't get better without doing your homework. AEW has potential, and they've always had potential, but they got to change it up. I mean, let's look at it. We've had the Elite versus Top Flight. There wasn't really a storyline built there. They were good matches. They were great matches, but they're not going to go anywhere because there was no storyline built around it. It was just like, let's put these two teams together. Let's put these two teams against one another. Let's do this. You don't get anything out of it unless there's substance and a storyline built around it.
Yeah, and the dream matches are great, but they can't all be just the dream matches. Like you have to have like the storylines going through each show to keep the audience engaged. And yeah, people are gonna watch, but they're gonna watch clips. They're gonna watch the highlights of those dream matches.
Right. It's like clearly yesterday, Dynamite, where Ricky Starks totally tricked Chris Jericho into signing the open challenge contract. He totally tricked him in, which was a nice turn for the storyline. I'm like, Jericho and Ricky starting to feel a little stale with the open contract. Jericho's signing it. It works. It puts a little more. It puts a turn onto that storyline, and you get another good match out of it. And all. But I mean, seriously, you need something like. I was a little disappointed with AEW when they brought FTR in. I think Dax was talking about it. Dax Hardwood was talking about it. He's like, him and Cash were brought in and believe that the company would be built around them and the Elite. That would be built around the Young Bucks and FTR. And it wasn't. And I don't think FTR was properly utilized, in my opinion. I mean, Tony Khan does some good stuff. You can tell Tony Khan is a fan of wrestling just by the way he keeps doing matches. But I also feel that he's trying to do everything himself. And you can't do everything yourself. That's why you have the CEO. That's why you have the president. That's why you have the booker. You have the GM. You can't take on every role by yourself, because you're going to spread yourself thin. You're going to work yourself thin. And I think that's the position that finds themselves in now, is they're being worked thin. Because Tony Khan's trying to take on everything himself.
Yeah. I'm actually, I might have to run here in a second. My training partner is done working out. So,
Okay, okay. So before I do let you go, I'm gonna have to totally have you back on again because this has been
oh
fun.
yeah.
Before I let you go, tell everybody where they can find you on social media. Where can they find you?
Social media, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Cool, cool.
I also shop on com.
Nice. Tell them about some upcoming shows you got, and all. If they're watching in the local area, tell them about some upcoming shows you got, and then I will go ahead and let you know if you've got some other pressing stuff you got to do.
Yeah. I'm going to be at the Pegasus Lounge in Tampa, Florida this Saturday, and then I'm up. That's for Breakout Independent Wrestling, and then for Wiregrass, I am up in Dothan, Alabama the following weekend.
Nice, nice. That's great. That is great. Thank you once again for coming on, everybody. I want to go ahead and say thank you for Eliza Haze being on. And remember, yeah, she told you where you can find her. Go check her out. She's really talented. And I'll thank you once again for being on. It was an honor. I appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
for having
you very much. No problem. No problem. You take care, and we'll talk hopefully real soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Everybody, thank you very much. This has been another episode of the Teachable Moments podcast, and this was our guest, Eliza Haze. Yes, but before, now that she's gone, okay, before I do let you go, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go just yet. I got a few things I want to talk about. People, we got a preview show coming up Sunday, February 26th. That's this Sunday. I now get to talk a little bit about ACW, which is fantastic. Like I said, we got an upcoming show coming up, preview show. I also want to talk about some teachable moment. Okay. I came across a very depressing story. And it had to do with a family that I've just read it today. It had to do with a family that moved from Florida to somewhere else, and they changed schools with put their daughter in a different school. So the father, knowing full well it's a Christian-based company, okay? It wasn't a Christian-based company, it was a Christian school. Okay. So they're very religious. Now, father sends their daughter to school, which you think regular day, ordinary day, everything's gonna go great. Sends her to school, and she the daughter comes home from the bus, gets off the bus, she's in tears, she's distraught. The father's red signal warnings are going off in his head. It's like he feels he's going to be really angry. He goes and he finds out that his daughter has an article of clothing missing. That she comes home without pants. Okay, I'm trying to keep this kid friendly as possible. Comes home without pants. He's like, he sent her to school in pants. She comes home without pants. And now, as time, he decides to drop his daughter off at home, right? Off at home with the wife, with her mother. He heads straight back to school, comes in, he's upset, livid, rightfully so too, right? He goes and he goes to the school, asks the assistant principal where the principal is, and then he asks, "Where's my daughter's pants?" She's like, "You have to understand, we have a certain code." He's like, okay, where's my daughter's pants? Why did y'all send her home without pants?" He's livid. Remember, this is a livid father. His daughter was sent home from school without pants that she went to school with. She goes, and he goes asking her if the principal finally shows up. And when he shows up, he pulls out the rule book. He looks right here, right there, like checkmate, right? Checkmate. I got you now. I got you. I'm smarter than you are. That's the principal's mentality. In it, it says any parent who enlists their kid here signs the paper and is all well knowing of the code, dress code and code of conduct, right? He's like, okay, I totally get this, but what does this have to do with the fact that my daughter doesn't have pants? She went to school with said pants, and now she's back home without pants. Principal opens the drawer, gets the pants, puts them on the table, points at it. It's like, this is the reason. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, we don't support LGBTQ in here. Okay. It's a Christian school. I completely understand that. I understand that morals. So supposedly the pants had rainbows on them. Okay. Has rainbows. And obviously that was against the school's dress code. My whole thing is this: I don't care what school you are. And remember, people, this is a teachable moment. I don't care what principal you are. I don't care if you're a principal of a Christian school. I don't care if you're a principal of a regular school. I don't care what kind of school it is. You have no right to tell the daughter that she must remove her pants and go the whole day without pants. And then you don't have the right to send her home without said pants. I don't care if they have a rainbow on them, because supposedly the rainbow signifies LGBTQ. Okay. Let's not forget, if you are a Christian company or a Christian school, the rainbow is a symbol of God's love, right? After the flood and all that, God made a rainbow. He put out a rainbow as a sign to show that he would never destroy the world again with a flood. He would never do that again. So the rainbow has that. A rainbow is a rainbow. Okay. It does not give you the right to take said pants off of one of your students and make her go. The assistant principal's like, well, we figured her shirt was long enough. It doesn't matter. You just don't do it. It should never be allowed, and the school should never have that power. Okay, now I don't know. See, the school stands by this action. I don't care. I don't care what it is. They stand by it. All right. I hope this school gets took to court. I hope the school board gets took to court, the principal, whatever, and they get ran through the justice system, because it is unforgivable of what they did to that girl. Teachable moment, people. I don't care what you're doing. You have no right to force said clothing off of said student. You don't do it. It's not right. There are so many other ways. They could have called the parents. They could have called them and told them to come pick your kid up. The way she dresses is against our dress code. We do not stand by it. Okay. let's not forget it's a rainbow. How many articles of clothing have rainbows on it? I know when I was going to school, people wore rainbows on their shirts. They wore rainbows on their pants. It didn't signify anything. It was just a rainbow. Okay, so that goes against your thing. There were parents. You could have called her parents. She had 4 forms of emergency contact. 4 emergency contacts on said form of submission form. They could have called. Just remember, this is a teachable moment. Never does it give a school the right to make your kid go through an embarrassing day without an article of clothing just because you thought their shirt was long enough to cover areas. Let's also look at it this way. You put that kid in vulnerable position, and it annoys me. I'm glad this story was here. I have not gotten a chance to tell a story like this before, and now I've gotten a chance to tell it. This is the teachable moment to anybody. If you're a teacher, I hope you're listening or I'm watching. If you're a parent, I really hope you're watching. No matter what power the school thinks they have, they do not have the right. They do not have the right to make your kid or any kid sit through an entire day of school without an article of clothing. They do not have said right to send kid home without said article of clothing and put that kid in even more harm, vulnerable state, and in danger. It's just not right. It does not give them that right, in my opinion. As a matter of fact, I don't think ever. It's a teachable moment, people. Teachable moment. Now, we will be back next week. Next week, hopefully with a new guest. I plan on having a new guest on. If things work out right, I should have my new guest on next week. And I'll thank y'all, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of the Teachable Moments podcast. Like I said, ACW has a preview show this Sunday, February 26th. Bell time is 2:00 and it is absolutely free. So come on out, watch some wrestling. I'm the Mass Menace. I am yours truly, the Mass Menace, aka Arch Clarence Kent, and I am out.